I'm Tamara, and today I'm going to walk you through everything you need to know to make a rectangle envelope pillow cover. Now there's a few things that you need to know when you're making a longer pillow versus a square pillow, so pay attention to those steps. And if you're interested in beginning sewing tutorials, please hit that subscribe button. I have new tutorials that come out every Friday. Let's jump into the tutorial.
The biggest difference between the long pillow and the square pillow will be the two pieces that you cut for the back side of your pillow. For the front of the pillow, you will just cut it to the measurements of your pillow form. If you want, you can add an extra inch so that you're accounting for your seam allowance. So because the width of my top piece of fabric is 24 inches in width, I have to figure out what the length of both of my back pieces of fabric are going to be. You do not want to cut both of your back pieces of fabric the same length, because then when you are putting your long pillow form inside your pillowcase, it will be a real struggle to get in there. So you want your folded flap closer to one of the sides of your pillow. So what I did was I took the 24-inch width and I divided it by 3. That gave me 8 inches. So for my smaller piece of fabric, I took that 8 inches and I added 2 inches to it. So that brings me to 10 inches by 13.5 inches. Then for my longer section, since I divided it by 3, now I took 8 plus 8, which brought me to 16, and I added an extra 5 inches to that piece of fabric, which brought me to 21 inches, so I cut a 13.5 by 21 inch section. Then you will do the same thing for both of these pieces of fabric on their short ends. You will fold an edge in at a 1/2 inch and then fold it in again another 1/2 inch, and then you will sew a seam on that inner edge. You will do this for both pieces of fabric. Then take those pieces of fabric and lay them right side up, making sure that the short piece of fabric is under the long piece of fabric. Then lay the top piece of fabric right side facing down. Now you will flip everything over and adjust it so that it all lines up neatly together before pinning and sewing a 1/2 inch seam around the entire outer edge. Now when you sew this 1/2 inch seam, start with a back stitch and end with a back stitch, but I also like to add a back stitch at each corner as well as over each side seam, as those are the edges that get tugged on a lot when you're putting your pillow insert inside your pillow cover.
There are 2 ways to finish your pillowcase, and it really comes down to personal preference. So let's get into it.
You need to stop the outer edges from fraying. So method 1 is cutting around the entire outer edge using pinking shears. The other method is cutting all 4 corners away and then sewing a zigzag stitch around the entire outer edge. Either method works, it's just up to you which you prefer. And then it's time to turn your entire project right side out, and then just grab something with a pointy end. I like to use a chopstick because I use the fat end first to push out my points, and then I go in very gently with the pointier end and push out my points until they're nice and crisp. Then bring it to your iron and press all of those edges nice and flat. And this is how your long pillow will look when it's finished.
So if you want to make any other pillow tutorials, I have a whole playlist, so I will link that playlist in the description down below for you. And honestly, this tutorial is my favorite. You'll make it with 1 piece of fabric, and it is just so cute. All right, I hope that you guys have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time. Bye for now.